You see hundreds of faces every single day, but the one you know best, your own, staring back from the mirror, it holds this incredible hidden story. It was literally assembled piece by piece in this tiny construction project that happened long before you were born. So let's pull back the curtain on how your face was actually made.
I mean, have you really ever stopped to think about it? Your nose, your lips, your jaw, they weren't just there. They're the result of this incredibly delicate, perfectly timed biological dance. And you're not going to believe this, but the blueprint for your face, it didn't look anything like a face. Nope. It all started as just 5 little bumps of tissue, kind of clustering around a simple opening. This is where our whole story kicks off. Okay, so to really get our heads around how this works, we first need to meet the key players. Let's introduce the 5 building blocks that are responsible for creating every single feature of your face. The stage for this whole biological drama is a place called the stomedium, which is basically the primitive mouth. Around the 4th week of development, this little spot becomes ground zero for, well, building a face. And here they are, our 5 stars. You've got one frontonasal prominence sitting right at the top. Then you have a pair of maxillary prominences on the sides, and a pair of mandibular prominences down at the bottom. Seriously, everything that makes your face starts right here with just these 5 pieces. And get this all happens at lightning speed. In week 4, our building blocks just show up. By week 5, eyes and ears are starting to join the party, and then week 6 is when the real magic happens. Let's watch how these simple bumps become something you'd actually recognize. So we've got our building blocks in place, right? Now the action begins. They start to grow, they shift around, and they start to sculpt themselves into the very first recognizable features. So what's the first feature to make an appearance? It's the nose. Late in week 4, 2 little patches of tissue called nasal placodes. They just thicken up on that top prominence. I know, it doesn't look like much yet, but that right there is the very first hint of a nose. Then, something really clever happens. These flat little patches start to sink inward. They create 2 little dips, the nasal pits. And that sinking action pushes up the tissue around them into these cool horseshoe-shaped ridges. And just like that, we've gone from a flat surface to a 3D structure. Now, as the future cheeks, those maxillary prominences, start to grow, a little groove forms between them and the new nose ridges. And this isn't just some random gap. It has a huge purpose. It's the future location of your tear duct, the exact channel that will one day connect your eye to your nose. Wild, right? By the end of week 5, things are really starting to take shape. The eyes, which actually started out on the sides of the head, begin to migrate toward the front. And at the same time, the very first little hints of ears start to appear. And that brings us to week 6. This is probably the most dramatic, most critical moment in the whole story. This is the great fusion, where all these separate pieces are finally going to merge and form a single, recognizable face. Okay, here's the main event. Those 2 ridges in the middle of the developing nose, they merge right at the center, and they create a whole new structure. Then, like 2 perfect puzzle pieces locking into place, the prominences from the side grow in and fuse with that new central piece. And this new fused segment, it's a huge deal. It's destined to become the philtrum, that little groove on your upper lip, plus the central part of your upper jaw, and even the front part of the roof of your mouth. Now, while all of that complex merging is happening up top, the bottom part is way, way simpler. Those 2 mandibular prominences at the bottom, they just grow toward each other and fuse right in the middle. And boom, you've got a lower jaw and a lower lip. All right, the basic structure is there. We've got a mouth, a nose, a jaw. Now it's time for the finishing touches. Let's see how these super complex organs, the eyes and ears, find their proper home on the face. The journey your eyes take is just incredible. They start as simple little thickenings way out on the sides of the head. Then they sink inwards, the eyeball itself forms around them, and as the front of the face narrows, they're carried forward into their final forward-facing position. And the ear, it's like a tiny, intricate sculpture built from 6 separate pieces. It starts as 6 little mounds of tissue. These mounds then fuse together, creating all those complex folds of your outer ear. But the craziest part? The ear first forms way down on the neck, and then it has to migrate up and back to its final spot. So, there you have it. In just a few short weeks, a handful of simple bumps grow, they migrate, they fuse together in this perfectly choreographed sequence, all to build one of the most complex structures we know, the human face. It really is a biological dance of unbelievable precision. From that incredibly simple starting point emerges the face, the center of our identity, how we express ourselves, and how we connect with everyone around us. You know, the formation of your face is just one amazing chapter in the story of how you were made. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible stories of creation and transformation are hidden right inside our own bodies, just waiting to be told?